Good day. My name is Ugochukwu Ukwebu. I am a session lead with the ALX Cloud Developer Nanodegree program. And in this video, I'll be doing a walkthrough of Project 2, Udagram, your own Instagram on AWS. All right, so here I begin in the classroom screen where the project is introduced, and we also have the instructions on how to carry out the project. There's a brief video introducing the project, and then we're given a link to the starter code for the project. So it's the starter code on GitHub. So we just get a clone of the code. So there's the link to GitHub repo. So I want to clone it into my own local environment. So I have that there. So what interests us really is the starter code. And that's it there. So I'm going to right. So have our starter files there. I want to rename this. And I want to delete that. I want to open the code in my local IDE, Visual Studio Code. Control tilde to open a terminal. What I like to do first when I when I get a new code repo like this is to create my own GitHub repo of the code on GitHub. So I want to go straight to my GitHub page, and then to create a new repo, call it going to make the repo private. So let me get back to my VS Code terminal. Let me initialize my code base with Git. pretty much following this first set of instructions on GitHub that GitHub helps us with the first set of commands to help us with instantiating our code repo. Okay, so if I come back to GitHub and refresh this, all right, I see our code has been pushed to GitHub. So what I like to do here too is I do a check out to a dev branch. All right, with a new Node.js application, we need to run an npm install. But let me first start by letting us know what node version I'm working with here. I'm using node 14.17.6. What npm version am I running? npm 6.14.15. So the first step, of course, this is in line with project instructions. We need to initialize a new project npm I and then npm run dev. So let me do an npm I for npm install. Okay, npm install done, npm run dev. So local servers were launched. Let's see what that looks like. So we have that. So let's test that endpoints on Postman. All right, so Stava started there successfully. So let's stop that. And okay, let's look at our project instructions. Uh our project instructions were to create a new endpoint in the server.cs file. The starter code has a task for you to complete an endpoint in the directories slash source slash server.ts, which uses a query parameter to download an image from a public URL, filter the image, and return the result. We've included a few helper functions to handle some of the concepts. We're importing it, and we're importing it for you at the top of the source of the slash source slash server.ts file. That's um to do task. So a source server.ts file. So this is where we have our project instruction. Uh, all right. So at the top, we import Express, import body parser, and then we importing the filter image from the um filter image from utils.util. So let's get started off. I think I like to import my Express. All right, that way. So we scroll down, we see of course here we initialize Express application, or well, at least basically the code has stopped giving to us initialize Express application. And then here we see our to do implement a RESTful endpoint, get filtered image, getting a parameter, query parameter image URL equals to the image URL endpoint to filter an image from a public URL. You should validate the image URL query, call filter image from URL, image URL to filter the image, send the resulting file in the response, delete any files on the server on finish of the response. And the query parameters is image URL of publicly accessible image, and then it returns the filtered image file tip res.send file filtered path might be useful. So let's get started. Okay, let's work with that. Let's image URL. I think I'd rather have this. So we have some complaints here. Sort it out. Okay, so pretty much that's our assignment. We we complete these steps here. Uh, we validate the image URL of the query, filter the image. We call filter image from URL to filter the image, send the resulting file in the response, and delete any files on the server. And those are the exact steps we've taken here, right? So let's save and do an npm run dev and test the endpoint we just created. All right. So first thing we need to do is get a publicly available image. So let's go to a public website. Let's go to bbc.com. Uh, okay, let's try and get a suitable public image. All right, so let's try and get this. So let's take this, copy image address. Uh, let's go to Postman. Okay, so our query parameter here is the value is uh okay, this has to be the JPG file. So let's send that request. If that goes, like something. All right. There's something we missed out there. Okay. So are we not doing properly there? Let me remove this brace. Let me change this to a const. Okay, all right. So I'm failing to pass the query parameter here on this endpoint. All right, so that's working there. Our code is working locally there. Um, okay, so we have our code working locally. Let's look at our project instructions again and compare. So we've implemented that to do. The next thing is to deploy our system to AWS. We're to follow the process described in the course. So EB init the new application and EB create a new environment to deploy our image filter service. All right, don't forget you can use EB deploy to push changes. So let me see if I can get my environment to spin up here. All right. Rather my AWS console access. Okay, so I'd like to open that in incognito. All right, while that is opening, go back to our code base. Uh, okay, so we do an EB init. Okay. All right, this my default region zone is US East 1. That's 1 stands for. Okay, default application name image filter 1301. Yes, yes, I'm using Node.js. Uh, my dev environment is 14, so let me use that. You wish to nope. Yes, I need to set up SSH for my instance. I will use Udagram key, an SSH key I created. Okay, so that's you can see this Elastic Beanstalk directory has been created for you, and it opens a config.yaml file. And of course, as far from what we got in our projects in our classroom course, we need to add this. Okay, that done. Save that. That done. We do an npm. Let's see. I mean, look through to be sure that everything is okay. Looks good. So at this point, we do an npm run build. Pretty much following project instructions. And of course, the npm run build is going to run these instructions given here. So let's go straight up. All right, so we have a problem there. Okay, so this is an issue that we've been experiencing, and it's pretty much one of the decisions why I had to do this walkthrough again. So the solution here at this point is to update our types dot slash bloodboard package. So I do an npm install. So before that, let's just look through the error message a little bit. So it's pretty much throws up some error, and we can see it's types bloodboard, right? Dependency issue. So let's see. Let me try and update my types bloodboard. Okay, so let's try that npm run build again. Okay, so looks like I'm still having some problem. Okay, telling me the syntax of the command is incorrect. Okay, let me replace this. I think I've seen this too. I have a different set of command syntax. So let me take that off. Let me try and use this instead. Let me try and run that npm run build again. All right, so let me just do a brief walkthrough. Basically, this set of commands, they work well under some systems. Uh, I can see the little difference between here is that in this instance, copies CP is used for copy here, while for what worked on my local environment, the full copy worked. But apart from that, the both commands are pretty much the same thing. So this is the command that worked on my own local system. This is probably going to work on other Linux-based local systems. So this is for those who might encounter this same particular issue. But then what did our build run? It pretty much created a new www directory here in which it's created a zip archive, archived the zip file of our code base. right? And so that's pretty much what we're going to uh, deploy to AWS right now. So we've done our EB init. So now, and we've done our npm run build. So this point, we do an EB create as the next command. So basically, what was the outcome of the EB init we did first time? So back on AWS console, I I go to Elastic Beanstalk service. We see loads an environment that's created for us. It's telling us this is empty. Is it empty? All right, it's not really empty. I have my image filter 1301 with I did environment which I just created with my EB by running that EB init command. You can see was created just a couple of about 8 minutes ago. So that was the result. That was the effect of running EB init. So now let's do an EB deploy. It doesn't yet have the code we have, right? So I do an EB deploy. We're going to see just notice this empty side here, empty part of the screen there. So I do an EB create. Let me increase my real estate here. EB create. Yes, that's the default environment name I want. As the DNS name I want. Load balancer type, application type. We'd like to enable Spotlight. Nope. Okay. Upload commit. So this is the process of creating an environment for Elastic Beanstalk on AWS. If you read through these codes that show on our terminal, you see some of the steps that AWS is taking to create the Elastic Beanstalk environment for us. So among the steps that's happening, you can see the environment is starting using an S3 bucket to store environment data, create a target group named that, create a security group, create another security group, and then create an auto scaling launch configuration. So it's created CloudWatch alarm for us. And then you can see from the instruction on the terminal or the output on the terminal that instance deployment has completed successfully and environment has been launched successfully. So let's verify on the AWS console what has happened. Let's click on this application name. You can see applications are up. All right, let me refresh that screen. All right, so that's our image filter application, image dash filter dash 1301 dash dev. You can see the health status is healthy. And yes, so that's our endpoint. So let's go on Elastic Beanstalk. Let's try it out on Postman. So basically we need to replace this local environment. Our server is now on AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So let's see what happens when we do that on the same endpoint. And we see that image has been filtered. Let's get another image to test it with. So let me scroll down there. All right, let's use this. Copy image address, back to Postman. Didn't look like it copied well. I need it to be the JPG. Let me get that. Let's see if this is going to be the JPG. I'm not sure that will work. I need to be. Let me see if I can use this. Okay. All right, so we've gotten another publicly available image and we're able to use our application deployed on Elastic Beanstalk to filter the image and then to show it. So application works fine. Our code works fine. So as per project requirements, we're supposed to prepare a couple of screenshots, package our code, and then submit everything, submit for the project to be reviewed. So I think it's just a matter of following the necessary projects here. Okay, we're supposed to submit a Git repository, screenshot of the Elastic Beanstalk application dashboard after deployment. So that's a screenshot of that's this dashboard. You should create a screenshot of this dashboard and submit with it. A link to the endpoint URL for a running Elastic Beanstalk deployment, either in the project README or in the project submissions notes. So a link to the endpoint of a running Elastic deployment. Okay, so pretty much this endpoint here that we have here. So you copy this and submit it, or you could just kind of copy this. Let's see. We take this, Control A, Control C, and then either in the project README or project submission note. So let's put it in the project README, in our own project README. Uh, let me okay. Let me add it somewhere. Okay, so let me just call it into, yeah, Elastic Beanstalk deployment, and I put that there and I save that. And of course, you might have noticed we've not been making our changes or pushing them to GitHub. So let's if we do a Git status here. Increase my real estate here. If I do a Git status, we have a number of changes that we've made that we've not updated. So do a Git add all. Yeah, and I push to GitHub. So that pushed, I could go to GitHub and from that link create a new pull request and then merge to my main branch. So let me just see what that looks to show that I've pushed to GitHub. And so basically that's it. I've pushed. So so that's about it. We've that's pretty much completed the project. Okay, so here you're advised to, before submitting, check if you have completed all the criteria in the project rubric. So I leave that to you to go look up and check up. And then also, uh, if you are up to it, I think there are some suggestions to make your project stand out. Refactor the project built in the course to make a request to this project service upon image upload. Add a required authentication header to block public requests. Add your own domain name and have it point to the running services. Try adding a subdomain name to point to the processing server. Notes: domain names are not included in AWS free tier and will incur cost. So thank you very much. This brings to an end this walkthrough. I had to do this. There's a previous walkthrough I did a couple of months back, but that particular one appears outdated with the new changes to dev environments, and that's prompted me to do this walkthrough again, and it should prove sufficient to the current cohort. So, once again, my name is Ugochukwu Ukwebu. I am a section lead with the ALX Udacity Cloud Developer Nanodegree program, and I just finished a walkthrough of Project 2, AWS, your own Instagram, Udagram, your own Instagram on AWS. So thank you very much. Have a nice time.